Welcome back to another podcast of, unfortunately, another podcast with William Franken, Gary
sir.
Alex Battaglia. We talk about music, we talk about films, we talk about comedy, we talk about what's on our mind right now. And one thing I want to say before we get started here, last podcast, or was it 2 podcasts ago?
No, last podcast.
Last podcast, we talked about our favorite artists, and I forgot to mention my most favorite artist of all time, and that's Mac Miller. So that's rough. That's a rough look for me.
Let's just talk for a couple minutes about why we love him so much.
I love Mac Miller for every reason possible. We'll talk about it more later when we get into like talking about music and why we love music and the different types of ways of loving music. But one way that I'll talk about is like loving the musician for their personality, not only their music. And I feel like that was what Mac Miller's my favorite music. Like, he's pretty much my favorite human ever.
Yep.
So, of course, I love his music. Don't get me wrong, but like, I just love him too.
Yeah.
I mean, and I forgot to mention also, my dog is named Mac after Mac Miller. I forgot to tell you guys that. I called him out, and we started talking about favorite musicians, and then I forgot to say all that shit. So,
but it's Macadelic.
yeah, it is the full name Macadelic on his birth certificate. It is.
Good mixtape. We'll get into that.
Yeah,
later.
we'll get into that later. So, comment, like, subscribe with all your music takes, what you want us to talk about. We have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have TikTok.
Oh, not yet.
Not yet.
I'll get on that.
When this releases, we'll have a TikTok. Comment on any of those, and we'll react to it. We're going to react to some tweets and YouTube interactions today. But yeah, just let us know your music hot takes. If you have any bands that you think we should get into, any artists, rappers, whatever.
Throw country at us too if you want.
We're gonna be reacting to some Latino country vibes later. So yeah, we'll get into it. But starting off, music on the radar.
UAV online.
I'll have to say that Kid Cudi album that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, it just got leaked or something. So maybe.
Or I think the features and track list got leaked. I don't think the actual music got leaked.
So hopefully, it's still coming out within. I think it's coming out like this week, maybe. But
wow, that's soon. I didn't know it was that soon.
I could be way off, but so the week we recorded this, but Kid Cudi's my favorite artist, so I'm on the lookout for that. Cool features.
Yeah.
I bet it won't be bad, just like how Kid Cudi is.
Did you like his
What?
his latest album?
Man on the Moon 3?
No, the
the
one
one about
movie.
the TV show?
Yeah,
or
that
was
he
it a
made.
movie?
Yeah, it was a movie, which it was actually fire.
I
liked
actually
that
have
movie.
only listened to the album, and I haven't seen. I should watch that.
I think you should. MK and I watched it, and it was pretty dope.
Yeah, I heard.
It's just a good story. It's not like amazing, but it's like a love story. Also, kind of like finding himself story, and it's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Like,
and when I just listened to the album without knowing the show, it was a solid album. I haven't gone back since the first time I listened to it, but
I wouldn't say it's as good as Man on the Moon 3, which
No.
is the one that is half face.
Yep.
That one was pretty good. I actually really liked that album, but all right, so Kid Cudi on the radar.
What's your on the radar?
My on the radar, another thing that I don't know exactly when it's releasing, but Travis Scott, one of my musical loves. He is supposed to drop Utopia anytime soon. I just saw that it just got sent in for mastering, which means like,
Oh yeah, I saw
it's
a tweet.
all done.
Yep.
Which is good because that just means it's coming soon. I don't know exactly the time. I don't think anybody does because Travis Scott doesn't tell anybody that. He hasn't dropped an album in 6 years.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. Or like almost 6 years,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, because 2018.
But I saw a tweet that someone said, if you were 12 when Astro World dropped, you're 18 now. Like
That's crazy, dude.
So when people were obsessed with Travis Scott when they were 12, they're going to get new music from him when they're 18.
That's insane.
It's nuts. So yeah, Travis Scott, Kid Cudi.
Mm-hmm.
We're excited for those guys. I mean, we love
Like
those
two of our
guys.
favorite artists,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like two of our favorite artists, so it makes sense why we're going to be looking out for that. You should be too. Song of the week.
My song of the week is "Rich Spirit" by Kendrick Lamar.
It's a goated little song there.
Just a great song, dude.
We saw it live.
We saw it live. I just love it. Bitch, I'm attractive.
Yeah,
I just love that.
Dude, and when he said it in the concert,
Yep.
it was so cool.
Yeah, just good vibes, cool little sound to it.
My song of the week, I'm going to go with...
Drum roll, please.
I think I'm changing it. I need to go look at it real quick.
Wow.
Stay with me.
Today, Gary.
See, it's so funny. We're gonna talk about this later too. Is how we listen to music is so different because I don't even remember. I remember by the literal noises it makes.
Just make the noises. Beep, whoop, whoop, whoop. That's like that SpongeBob episode.
That's what it sounds like. Noise Above Our Heads by James Blake off his Color in Everything, or Color in Anything. We'll talk about it more later.
Yeah,
because he doesn't really like he's okay with James Blake. It's just not his vibe.
It's like background music to me, and I hate to disrespect one of your favorite artists.
No, but I mean, I totally understand that though.
Yeah,
that makes sense to me saying it's background music because it really is a different vibe. It's a different vibe. So, yeah, song of the week.
Yep, pretty good songs.
Pretty good songs.
If you never heard them, check them out.
Song of the week too is it doesn't have to be new. Like that's why we do the music on the radar. You know, that's kind of the newer upcoming things that we're about to see.
Yeah.
Song of the week is just literally what song we liked that week.
Because it's so like day by day, week by week how we're feeling. Like
I was thinking of saying Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath.
Oh yeah.
So that's my honorable mention song of the week this week.
Yeah.
Because we have those. Yeah, so we're going to get into talking about just interactions. We sent a few tweets out. We got a few responses, so we'll just talk about those quick. First thing we want to talk about is we had a tweet that said, let us know in the comments below about some modern metal, you know. Personally, and I know I speak for you, we don't love modern metal and like where the state of it is. I mean, like I don't like metalcore.
No.
I do like the instruments and everything and all that. The breakdowns are fire. Like, I like the music. It's just I hate screaming. I hate techno used in metal when it's used wrong. Like, some of the new metal, they do it in a way where I'm like, okay, this is fire. But, like, I just don't like techno, like, making it almost EDM metal.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that shit. So, we got Eric Maynard,
yeah.
Yep, Eric Maynard. And he said to listen to Sabaton. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
It's like, I think we talked about it briefly before, and Gary mentioned it sounds like Iron Maiden a little bit. I'd agree with that. It sounds like new Iron Maiden with worse singing, in my opinion.
And you said it sounded like someone else too, right? Or...
Well, I don't really know, but because I don't listen to him. But the way it's like theatrical reminded me of like Rammstein, maybe.
Rammstein, yeah.
But they did have some decent solos when I heard them. I don't know if it's a band I'm gonna get into. But I wasn't angry that I checked them out. Mm-hmm. That's how I'll put it.
I'll put it the exact same way. I put it on, listened. I was like, okay, this is cool. And, I played another song and I like zoned out and was doing something. And like, I wasn't like thinking, oh, I need to turn this off or like, but I wasn't like, this is amazing. Cause it just kind of does sound like a new age Iron Maiden or like it has the gallop. Gallop. Dun, 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 dun.
Yep.
So that's why I thought Iron Maiden.
And it's like Iron Maiden because they had some decent solos.
And it was theatrical.
Yeah.
So it really was like Iron Maiden on a lot of fronts. So Eric, good suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty solid,
I enjoyed listening to them. Next, we have someone who commented on our YouTube video, Sweet Glamour, told us to check out Turnstile, which is a band that is like a modern, like the way I would describe it is like skater music, honestly. It's like heavy skater music. It sounds like a mesh of like Blink-182 with Green Day with a lot of those early 2000, late 90 bands, but also definitely sounds newer too.
Yeah,
like the singing is newer sounding. I actually really enjoyed their song Blackout. It's, when you give us these recommendations, guys, we're going to go through the first 5 usually.
Yeah.
The top 5. And I know a lot of like diehard fans of bands will be like, that's not their best song. That's how we're going to check it out first. Sorry. I don't know what albums to go to. I have to judge it off something.
Usually, actually, what I do is I'll go to their first album, listen to a couple songs, and then if it's bad, I just go to the top 5 because I'm like, man, that wasn't good.
Which it's funny with metal bands. I feel like I do the same thing kind of, but like I feel like I always check out number 1, 2, check out their top stuff because a lot of the times bands that you're not going to love, the best songs are like with Korn. I still think "Freak on a Leash" is probably still my favorite song, even though it is their number one song. Like it's just fire
That's
as
just how it
fuck.
goes sometimes.
But
yeah, Turnstile was decent. I wasn't a huge fan, but I wasn't like, I need to turn this off. I listened to the whole song and I was like, all right.
See, I'm gonna say I actually did enjoy it because I clicked save on that motherfucker.
Damn.
Yeah, the Blackout song.
They made this save.
I mean, here's why. The Blackout song was, it didn't feel like, I know sometimes we talk about metal can be corny. I didn't really, like, for the Blackout song. For some of the other ones, I felt a little corny. For that Blackout song, I didn't feel corniness. It felt heavy, but not so heavy that it's, like hard metal, because it still had that skater punk vibe. Like, it was punky. And then it had a drum, like, interlude that was funky, and then it had a breakdown at the end with, like, kind of like a solo. And I was like, dude, this is, I mean, that's, like, what you want in a metal song, is, like, it changing throughout. It has a vibe that you can get going with, a groove. But, so yeah, Sweet Glamour. Good recommendation. Then we got another recommendation from my friend Wilbur. And the song is called UNX100 2. It's a weird song. It was Bad Bunny and these other Latino guys making kind of just some Latino music.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know how else to describe it.
It was, I'll just put it bluntly, it wasn't very good in my opinion. There wasn't anything like where I was like, oh, this is trash about it, but it's just something I wouldn't ever listen to.
I think the one thing that I think, and you know, when we don't like music, I like to understand why someone likes it. Wilbur, I think the reason why you like it is it's light. I think Wilbur likes light music, you know, like something that he could have on the background. As you said, background music. And also, in the beginning, the vocals that Bad Bunny was doing, I was like, ooh, it kind of like is Post Malone vibes, which I feel like that kind of caught you, Wilbur. So, deconstructing the way that you think is what I'm doing.
And it wasn't off, like, I wasn't,
I mean, like,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you know, it wasn't terrible.
But also, we can't forget about the tweet from Zach Wynn.
Oh, yeah. So we tweeted out, and we talked about it last week on the podcast. We tweeted out
hottest music takes.
Who's got insane hot takes about music, could be anything. And Zach Wynn said, oh, hey, where is it? My hot take is that Juju on that beat should still be huge. And it's basically the song of our generation.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, he's 100% right.
I mean,
best song I've ever heard.
Honestly, the best song of all time.
Like when you're thinking the Beatles, Metallica, Juju on that beat's right up there with him.
Here's Juju.
Shouts out Zach.
Shouts out Zach. We love you, baby. And then another tweet that we sent out was, who is the better artist? Not specifically rapper, just artist. Talented-wise. Mac Miller or Eminem?
I mean, in my opinion, it's like not even close, and it's Mac Miller.
Yep.
Like, now I will say Eminem produced a lot more than I think, and maybe a lot more than other people think too. Apparently, he produced like a good amount of his stuff.
Oh, I mean, and not only that, he was like 50% production credits on Get Rich or Die Trying.
Yeah. So he's definitely a talented
and he
artist.
knows what he's doing. I mean, it's Eminem.
It's Eminem, but just the way like Mac Miller, like Eminem was like made rap beats and Mac Miller made music. That's
right.
how I
yep.
put it.
Oh yeah. And I'm gonna be on the same page as you. I mean, Mac Miller can do anything.
Yeah.
Name a rapper other than maybe like Travis Scott shit, honestly.
Or like XXX, like the screaming fucking.
But I feel like maybe he could even do that shit, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, like he never did, but you know, he could have.
Yeah.
He could have done the Travis Scott shit too. Honestly, like Mac Miller literally could have done anything. So we both said Mac Miller. The poll said 85% said yes to Mac Miller, and then no to they think Eminem is better. So
that's pretty good.
That's like exactly on par with like what I would think.
Yeah.
You know, maybe our population just likes Mac Miller better too.
Yeah.
Maybe if we tweeted that out and it was on like a different platform that had like a lot of people. We only have like 400 followers. So.
Yeah, that's a decent amount, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
how
13
many votes?
13. So not a lot, but
so it was probably like 10 people said.
And then another tweet that we sent out was, who is the best drill artist of all time? And this could be, you know, whatever drill is to you. definition-wise.
Yeah.
We had Dat Raj Beat saying none other than Chief Keef, Almighty So.
Almighty So. I mean, that's hard to argue with.
I think I'm 100% going to go with Chief Keef, too.
That's hard to argue with. The only, I mean, you have to give it to Chief Keef, but then there's G Herbo, Lil Herb, and Lil Bibby. And honestly, Lil Durk is in that, too.
Here's what I'm going to say. Real quick. Michael Walker Jr. also said King Von. Mm-hmm. So with that account, when I saw that, I was like, okay, here's how I'm going to say it. I think Chief Keef is the GOAT because he started it all. Honorable mention, G Herbo, best drill rapper.
Yeah.
Honorable mention, King Von, hardest drill rapper.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the way I'm going to put it.
And like King Von, he was just like he brought the drill, that Chicago drill back. Like he revived it. So,
Facts. Yep.
So he's not like the GOAT or like because Chief Keef started it, but he's like the second coming.
He is the second coming, and he really like kind of like it's like I'm gonna relate it on some weird shit, but this is how we do it all the time. Chief Keef was Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
King Von was Metallica.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath started it, went, this is the greatest shit ever, get ready. Metallica came in, perfected it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the same way with that.
Who's G Herbo?
G Herbo is...
Aerosmith.
Oh, who would be G Herbo? Honestly, if we're talking metal.
Oh, but also here's a good shout for best drill artist. Well, I'll just say Pop Smoke because I'm sure everyone's gonna be like, "What about Pop Smoke?" New York drill, definitely inferior. But I'll say Pop Smoke. But also FBG Duck, you got to throw him in there. One of the Chicago greats,
yeah,
and he was right there from the beginning.
And he's just like in it. You know, like
yeah.
They're all in, like he's in the conversation with what they would say. Like if you ask all the drill artists, they would probably have him in their conversation. And then that is it with the tweets and the reactions.
Keep them coming.
Keep them coming. I mean, this is what we strive for. This is what we live for. Okay? We love the interactions. We love talking to you guys, hearing your takes, hearing your recommendations. This is what will keep this podcast alive. So continue it. Continue it. We're going to be moving on to another, last time we talked about our personal favorites. We're going to be talking about our personal, loves, weird, kind of distinct loves in music. Something that, we probably haven't talked about on the podcast, or here's the way I describe it. The songs that you listen to in the car alone, and when someone comes in, you turn that shit off.
Yeah. I have levels to mine because, I'm just going to start with, people you might not think I'd listen to, but aren't that weird. Because, people know I like Chief Keef and stuff, so you might not. Yeah. So drill and hard rap and stuff. So I'm just going to start with some popular artists that you might not think I like. The Weeknd, the early stuff, though. Like, the trilogy, that whole... I think it's technically 3 mixtapes, but on Spotify now it's just one album called The Trilogy.
Shit is goated, though.
Yeah, super good.
It's so good.
I'm in my car singing that motherfucker.
And Frosty doesn't really like singers like that.
Yeah. Well, but that leads me to my next point. Adele.
Oh yeah, true.
I love Adele.
Yeah.
When We Were Young is my favorite song by far. That shit just gets me going, dude. I like a lot of other songs too. And that's a good for what we disagree on later. That one Adele song. And then Billie Eilish, stuff like that. But then even deeper into that, some weird stuff that I like is really underground drill.
Yeah.
That guys with 2,000 listens on fucking YouTube. And then Death, the metal band.
That's good. I like how you threw that metal band in there because I was like, we gotta talk about the weird metal because that's the point of metal is listening to shit that only you like and you feel like no one else likes. Which Death is very famous, so
and they're famous, but those songs are definitely I'm not trying to play those around other people.
If you're let's say you're talking
except for the instrumental.
Let's say you're talking to a girl though. I mean, I guess it matters what she likes, but if she gets in the car and you're gonna play music, you're not going to Death.
Oh hell no, dude! I have to look up someone else's playlist or something, bro. I can't play any of my music. But I'm probably missing something that I like. I listen to some dad music too, like Jim Croce, Jimmy Buffett, Billy Joel. There's a lot of music that I like that people probably wouldn't know.
Yep.
That I like. But,
Just based off what we talk about already,
yeah.
and
what I post on my social media
media
and stuff.
and just talk about in general. Yeah, I would say one person that I was obsessed with for a long time, and still am, but Jack Johnson. Like, I love Jack Johnson's music. And we'll get into it later because we'll talk about why we love certain things, why people love certain things. But Jack Johnson just has a place in my heart, Like, he has this reggae album that I fucking love, which is, like, so weird because it's nothing like I had ever listened to before.
I also just want to, one more thing. I only like one song by this guy, but the song Love Is All by The Tallest Man on Earth. Amazing song. But I wouldn't even be that embarrassed, or like, I don't know if I'd change that if someone came in the car, because it just sounds so cool and unique.
And that's the thing too, I feel like the reason why I said it like that is because, if you play like pop music, it doesn't matter who gets in the car. It's just pop music. Like, no one gives a fuck. But like, I don't know, like, I guess this is stupid, but this is kind of like going against what I just said, but like, I love Michael Jackson.
Oh.
Like, big time. And I play him all the time, and I don't really talk about it a lot because it's Michael Jackson. Everybody knows Michael Jackson. And
it can be controversial.
It can be controversial. I don't really give a fuck.
Separate the art from the artist.
And obviously, if Hitler made music, I'm not listening to that shit.
Jesus Christ. That's where we draw the line. What else, though? Jack Johnson,
Michael Jackson. Man, a lot of the metal that I listen to, like you mentioned them earlier, Annihilator, it's weird. It is thrash, and people know we like thrash, so I guess it's not that weird, but
it's weird.
It's weird. I love Linkin Park. I loved Linkin Park when I was younger. It's not weird, but it's corny, but I don't give a fuck. Corny, yeah. That's really all I can think of. We're both gonna be missing a whole bunch because we listen to so much music. It's like, as you saw with the last podcast, I missed talking about my favorite fucking artists of all time. Like, our minds are just racing on like what we love. There's just so much to talk about, and that's why this will never ending. But yeah, I guess that's a good transition then. Just what I was talking about, like how mood, how nostalgia, what affects what a person would like in music. And this is something that I think is so fascinating because it's like it's the reason why music will always be relevant. It's the reason why, it just shows why people love music so much. And there's just so much that goes into it. Like, one thing I would say is, like with Michael Jackson, like, I think the literal sound of it is amazing. I don't listen to it because it brings up memories. I don't listen to it because, like, literally it sounds fucking good to my ears. Same thing with Metallica. It just sounds good to my ears. Now with that, the live performances, seeing them do that too, plays a part of it. But, like, there's different artists. Like what I said with Mac Miller, like, I love his personality. I didn't even love Mac Miller right away with the frat rap. Like, I didn't love that. Once he started making that real rap, I got obsessed, of course. But I didn't love, like, when I remember Kevin Hanauer, like, loved Mac Miller, like, 8th grade, and I was, like, into him a little bit. I liked Best Day Ever. I liked, Floating with Wiz Khalifa and all that shit. But, like, I was always still, like, a little bit, like, I like, Waka Flocka and, like, the trap shit and, like, 2 Chainz. So I was like, bro, I want him to make some fire. Then I got into Macadelic. Then I got, it's just, like, it's just so interesting why people like different art. And, it just changes. It changes the way you look at why you like something. It's just fun to, like, dissect it,
Yeah, and that's actually interesting that you say that because I was sort of the opposite with Mac Miller. I first heard Donald Trump, and I was like, wait, this guy's amazing. Yeah. Like, right off the bat. And then,
which, of course, I like Donald Trump, too.
And I know you liked him, but what's the opposite is I liked Best Day Ever, Kids, but I didn't really get into, like, and I liked Good AM, too, but once, like, Divine Feminine and Swimming were out, that's when I started to not like Mac Miller. Or just
I would get so mad because people would like hate on Good AM. I remember like Amos was like, "Nah, dude, like I only like Nikes on my feet and like shit like that." I'm just sitting there,
well,
bro. Like,
that's not good AM.
no, I'm saying like he only liked the old music and like he was like, "No, Good AM, like bro, I don't like new Mac." I'm just like, bro, you just didn't listen to it.
Yeah.
Because bro, Mac Miller's lyrics and he just doesn't like thoughtful music that. But I know that was when he was 16, so he probably changed his mind with that. Who knows?
But yeah, now I love Mac Miller and Divine Feminine Swimming. But what were we talking about?
Just like the way people listen to music and how like they like something, like
moods and nostalgia.
Like let's say
and stuff.
for like G Herbo, like do you think his personality and the way he is affects the way you hear his music? Like knowing kind of like all of his background and all of the shit. Like do you think that makes you like him more? Like you know.
Yeah, I'm a big person like that too, where like I like to know my artists, and that's why like G Herbo, like I just love how he seems like a normal guy that happened to grow up in a really fucked up place, and that's basically what he raps about.
And I love how they're showing how he's like a nerdy guy now. It's like yeah, bro,
like him on Kai Cenat's stream was funny.
He's just like a goofball, like.
Yeah,
people don't think that like humans can be like normal humans in this. It's like, yeah, like they're in the thick of it, but they're still like, they have personalities.
Yeah, and the only reason they might not, is because of where they come from.
Yeah.
Yep. But about like nostalgia and stuff too, like
name an artist that you only listen to pretty much because of nostalgia.
I couldn't think of an album or a artist really, but. Views by Drake, and obviously like you're like gonna be like Drake, well duh, but it's just like that was like my junior year in high school or something, like, and I remember like going to dances listening to that shit, so it just brings back a lot of good memories. And
like for like I would say like when I go back and listen to an artist and I'm like, I know that this isn't the greatest music, but man, I love it.
Oh, I got a good one. Big Sean, dude.
Yep, there you go.
Big Sean, finally famous too. I don't care what anyone says, dude. That's good. That's a good album. But I know it's just nostalgia. I had this CD of it, and I'd sit there playing Call of Duty.
And like when you go back and listen to it nowadays, you're like, eh.
Well, actually, for that one, like it's so nostalgic that I still like this.
See, and that's so crazy how I can like carry, because I feel like I have a lot of stuff like that where I like know it's trash, or not even trash, but just like
outdated too.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, it's so dated, but man, do I love it. Like a lot of that early, like G Unit, I would say G Unit 100% I love for nostalgia. And
yeah, but that's also fire. It is fire rap.
Like the game, the documentary, like I love the documentary so much. And it is a goated album, but also I know that's when I became in love with rap, is like when I started listening to all those early 2000 guys. And it just makes me think about me when I was a fucking 8-year-old taking tinfoil and putting it in my mouth, pretending I had a grill.
Yeah,
like
takes you back. That's why
those were the rough days, dude. But the way people listen to music is so interesting, and I think one thing that we were talking about on that other podcast is kind of like how music has changed, and just talking about the effect of TikTok, the effect of how you can get it anywhere and everywhere at all times. How do you think that has changed the way we listen to music, the way we digest it and think about it?
Well, I mean, like we briefly touched on, I mean, people just try to make 15 seconds of a song instead of a full song, but there's good things and there's bad things to it. The good things is there's music everywhere. So like, I feel like that creates for a lot of like infusion of genres, like in like new genres and stuff like that. But then the downside is people don't play instruments as much. And like the rock we like is like all people that just play their instruments the most. Like maybe that's why we don't like metal that much anymore, because maybe
it sounds programmed.
It sounds programmed, and like,
which it is. A lot of new metal is programmed,
and it's like people but then like you on your like the producer standpoint, you even say like if you're like you might as well make it sound the best, or like. So I'm not blaming them for it, but it's like we just love that raw. Like these guys are actually playing it. Maybe they might mess up a little bit, but that's what I like.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the root of rock and roll. Like that's the reason why Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, like it sounds like rock. They are missing notes. They are clanking and making it sound just aggressive. And you know, nowadays with metal, it's and you're like, oh wait, so it just sounds like you are just doing it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again so you get it perfect, which is kind of what Metallica did. But that was why Metallica was goated, because they were able to keep the like roughness.
I feel like that's where Lars and like the bassists really shined.
Yeah, facts.
Because I mean, James was basically a computer, like way he would record those riffs.
And Lars definitely wasn't the best drummer. But there is times in Metallica songs too, and I know that people hate on him for like performing terribly sometimes, but I mean, it's stupid. Lars is goated. But the way he constructed all that shit,
and they're a good example of, and like every band in the '80s, basically, they would just perform, and nowadays in music, you just post it on TikTok and hopefully it gets famous.
Yep,
but
that's how it is.
But like. There's not really anything wrong with that, because like why wouldn't you do that? But just that, like my uncle was telling me, like there used to be, he would just go around go see bands perform all around Madison. You don't really see that anymore. Yeah, I mean we could go find some. Maybe
we went to Mickey's the other day and there was a band playing and it was hurting our ears and
yeah, and it's like, so people just don't care that much about live music anymore.
Yep.
But it's whatever.
Yeah, I mean. I'm an optimist with music, where I think it's really like never a bad thing. Like, of course, I totally agree the TikTok shit. But then it goes to like, oh, but dancers love that shit. Like dancers, they are
love
like
copying other people's dance moves and getting a lot of views on it.
Yeah, facts. No, but like, you know, like my sister was a dancer in high school and like watched all these dance shows and stuff, and like. That's like the music they like, is like the most poppy, like just rhythmic, like TikTok songs are perfect for them because that's what they want. Personally, that's not what we want. You know, we want
it gets old.
Thought out. We want, I mean, but it doesn't if you're dancing to it. The music we listen to, you really can't dance to other
than headbanging.
Yeah, headbanging or like doing like what is it New York Street guys do?
Getting sturdy.
Yeah, you get sturdy to the music you like, and you can.
That's
headbang.
Dancing, bro.
That's the two things you can do to the music that we like.
Or that Chicago footwork that G Herbo did.
Yes, dude, that shit's funny.
No, but yeah, I mean, that's how we say, like, everyone listens to music differently. Some people want that pop, to dance.
And you know, this goes on to our next point of like how like what the way that you and I, even though we love the same fucking music, like we like the exact, as you guys know, we've talked about it over and over again. We like the same music, but like we will be the first person to tell you that like we listen to it differently. Like,
yeah,
I'll just start off kind of like talking about James Blake, where it's like I am a person that loves James Blake, Frank Sinatra, Led Zeppelin. You don't really fuck with them.
I think we should go broader first.
Yeah.
You have always your entire life only listened to the instrumentation and the rhythm and the beats, essentially.
Yep.
I started getting into that recently because I started to play guitar and stuff, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will feel me on this. I just listen to the artists. Or
the lyrics.
I would sing along. I would know all the lyrics. I never even thought twice about production. Yeah. I just assumed, oh, this is the artist.
And it's so crazy because I literally started getting in that mind, like, because I do remember what it was like to be like that, bro.
Yeah.
Like, to only be, like, just taking it all in and not even, like, dissecting it. But, I mean, ever since, like, 10 years old when I started playing guitar, like, ever since, I've, like, been dissecting like a motherfucker on everything, like.
And then that's how you got into producing beats as well.
It's just crazy, like, I don't remember lyrics well. I don't remember names of songs. I don't remember... like literally anything about the music other than the instruments. Like I will remember a guitar solo and be able to like, if you ask me, just like kind of hum that guitar solo, I could do that easier than saying the lyrics.
Yeah.
And it's like with Metallica, when I got him into Metallica, he started like telling me the lyrics are fire. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I didn't even know.
I was
there
like, dude, I'm
lyrics.
just hearing the Gugs, dude. Like, I don't give a fuck. And he told me lyrics, and I was like, dude, I literally thought it was different words. Like with the song I told him about it the other day, Disposable Heroes by Metallica off their Master Puppets album. It says back to the front. I would just say what it sounded like when I'd be singing along to it. Like,
Yeah.
back to the front. I don't even know what I would say because now I can't unhear it. But
Yeah, and that's about like people in war
going back to the
going
front.
back to the front doesn't matter if you're injured or whatever. So that's cool but then gave you new appreciation, and we both we both gave each other new appreciation because then I would start. You'd like tell me like I used to not be able to hear the bass guitar in songs.
Not at all. I'll be like, Frosty, you can't hear it's going dum ba dum bum.
Yeah.
You're like, sounds like guitar.
Yeah,
I'll be like,
because when you don't know the intricacies of it, it just sounds like one thing.
Yeah,
like
which
drums, guitar.
That means
thing.
they're doing it good though.
Yeah,
That means they are making it sound good.
So that's the where the difference starts from. He's more production. I sort of am getting into it, but was always just a casual listener lyrically, and I loved singing along. And then that's why you love James Blake so much.
Yep, and Frank and Led Zeppelin, and it's like one way I also like to describe like the music I like is I really love music that is like theatrical and takes you on a journey, and like one thing, and this goes back to like not nostalgia, but like the way you live can affect what music you listen to. I went to school in Texas and would travel from Texas to Wisconsin in a car for literally like 20 hours straight and like wouldn't stop. And I would listen to things like James Blake, Frank Sinatra, Led Zeppelin, like all these bands that like if you listen to it, I'm staring like this and just listening to this crazy shit.
Zoning out.
And it's like I'm in a movie. Like I like music that makes me feel like I'm in a movie, and it just I don't know, it's just like a different way to listen to it because of course I do love like either rap songs or rock songs that are like catchy as hell and like you're getting into it. But I feel like I have strayed so far from that. Like I don't really listen to music that's just catchy anymore. Like I listen to stuff that's like super intense. Mm-hmm. And I know you do too, but
like I listen to a lot of like rappers that I mean, they're really not that good, and they're definitely not like artists. And you'll listen to them. I feel like you just get bored of them. Like,
yeah.
But I don't know. There's something about like probably just because I like the lyrics, but like and so like I can get into it even if it's like basic beats. But if the guy has a cool voice and a cool flow, I'm like, bet I'm in.
Bet. And like it is, and it's so weird too because like the flow and all that shit, like that is like an instrument almost. Like,
yeah.
You know, like it still has to be sounding good, which is the root of all music listening is it still just has to sound good.
Yeah.
You know,
like James Blake doesn't sound bad to me, but his lyrics are so like or just his vocals are so like trippy and like it puts you in a trance. Like
it
you're
literally
saying,
is
like
transit music.
So it's hard for me to like focus on it because it's like almost like it's just an instrument.
Yeah.
Whereas
facts. It is so weird.
like
how
he's
it is,
not
bro.
saying anything really, and but I like a few James Blake songs.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I love a lot of the drill guys that you said,
Yeah.
but it's just I am not seeking it. You're not seeking James Blake.
Yeah.
But we can still appreciate it.
Yeah. But it's just so funny, like Nardo Wick I can listen to, like Big Walk Dog was a guy, like all these guys that like they're not really doing anything different, but I can just get into them for a little bit. And I feel like it's just so interesting to me that when you listen to them, I mean, that's not like you're like, this is garbage, but I feel like you're just like bored a little bit.
Yeah. I like the guy that you just sent. What was his name?
D-Wade from OBN.
D-Wade from OBN.
Shout out him.
God,
On the radar.
Garbage ass name. It wasn't bad. Like I was sitting there like, ooh, all right.
Yeah,
shit.
he actually hit some flows.
It's just funny. Like I just have to go back into the 2015 Gary Alex that was sitting in a car smoking a bunch of blunts, hotboxing.
Yeah.
Like I have to like get in that mindset of like, dude, this is hitting hard. And
Yep.
you know, like it's just funny how music tastes change too. Like I was 100% into that shit end of high school, but I still was also into Metallica. And like, you know, I've always been into the crazy musical stuff. So it is just weird how we like the exact same music pretty much, but at the same time it differs in so many ways.
Yeah, like I mean, we can, but like even like thrash metal, we both love thrash metal, but I love early Slayer, and you love like the Seasons of the Abyss album,
Yep.
and like
I love that. It's Doom. That's like
Yeah.
their Doom metal album,
And-
which, oh, dude, that shit's like Black Sabbath pretty much.
and you like I don't know, you correct me if I'm wrong, but you sort of like really don't like that first album.
It's not that I don't like it. It just feels like 80s, like
Yeah. But that's
kind of corny.
But that's funny. That's why I like it though. It's like it
has
feels
thrash.
It feels real 80s and real punk, like the
Yeah.
real early thrash, like
Right.
And
has the energy.
and yeah, and they're that was before they went overboard with like super metal.
No, I really do not like 90s Slayer. Oh, like, okay, early 90s.
Yeah, I mean they fell off big time.
They fell off big time. And like even another thrash band, Megadeth, like
Yep.
you were
That was
super
fun.
into the early 80s, like mid 80s Megadeth, well, like even late 80s. And I was like really into like the late 80s, early 90s of like when they kind of slowed it down and made it way more like intricate in the way where it's like they're trying to make the best sounding music. You liked it when it was like craziness.
Just
Like,
craziness. And you know what's crazy? That could even be like your producer mind just liked the 90s better because it just sounded so much better.
oh man, the production was amazing.
And when I got into them, I wasn't really, my ears weren't like accustomed to mixing and stuff.
Right.
So I was like, this guitar is crazy.
Yeah,
like
which
that's
it
all
is.
I was
It
thinking.
is, though.
And
And
it's, but it is
and I
mixed.
still like the 80s shit.
And it's mixed, but it's mixed worse. But it works. That's when I just really liked that vibe. But now I like the 90s Megadeth.
Yeah.
But like we said, that's how our music
Yep.
like brings and lets us find new shit. But it's just so cool. You can like disagree but agree on everything, basically.
Yep. And just how, I mean, that's the reason why music is so amazing, because you can just dive so deep, bro. Like, it's just noise.
Yeah.
And
that's
we're
what-
getting so deep into it.
And that's why we like ask for people to give suggestions, because even something you would have never thought you liked, there might be one song you really like.
Right.
Because that's just how, I mean, that's what we've learned diving into
And-
all these artists.
And just going even more on like a day-to-day basis, mood. Like,
oh, yeah.
you know how I was talking about nostalgia and like how you grew up and just kind of the way you live, like how I was traveling, so I was listening to that type of music. Like even just mood. Like Metallica is our favorite band of all time, and we probably would be okay listening to it at all times. But I sometimes am like, oh, Black Sabbath or Led Zeppelin or is better right now. Like I want to hear that. And you know, obviously that's how music is. Like you get into a mood, but it's just so interesting how even with listening to a song, like sometimes when you send me the drill artists and I'm not in a rap mood at all, it literally sounds like Dookie water.
Dookie, yep.
And if you would have sent that same exact song when I'm like really into some boom bap, I'm into my beat making production, like if you send me and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like it
Yeah.
could be from trash to amazing. And I know that's how people are. And I feel like people don't understand that sometimes.
Yeah.
Like people
Well-
think that it's either you like it or you don't. It's like, it could change.
Day by day, yeah.
Yeah.
And like just to go into these moods, that's a good topic. I'm just gonna like if I'm sad, I love listening to sad music. You know, then I'll listen to like Juice WRLD, Mac Miller, damn near even Metallica sometimes on that sad, angry
Oh
shit.
yeah. It's sad, shit. Hell yeah.
But then like with those like drill artists or like Big Walk Dog or like people like that, that's when I'm just feeling like, you know what, dude, I'm just trying to fucking listen to some bullshit, basically. Like
I mean, and I talked about
and
it.
go hard, like
Right. And I talked about it on the other podcast when we were talking about like our favorites. And when I was talking about Eddie Van Halen and like Van Halen, it's like I'm shitting on him a little bit, but like, dude, there's days where I'm like, holy fuck, I'm into this.
Yeah.
You know, like when you got the windows down in your car and you're driving fast, like Panama literally is the best song you can play.
like that Family Guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude, that bit is so good. Classic.
Anyway.
Yeah, and you know, one thing I also want to talk about, which is kind of a little off topic, but I did want to bring up, and this is something we don't have on the agenda, but I just thought of it because I remember I was like, ooh, I'm going to bring this up with Frosty, is what is your thoughts on kind of like, I saw Trippie Redd talk about how everyone from his generation
Oh, yeah.
is dead. And like just
That's
kind of the
fucked up.
trajectory of music and kind of what people want to hear. And do you think like, this is just something I thought of, and it relates kind of to the 90s with all those guys kind of committing suicide and like having drug problems and everything, is like,
Oh, like grunge.
yeah, do you think it's like, I don't know, like the world wanted that shit, and then like I feel like it's like almost like a lesson to like people, like
Well, you know what's
This is
interesting?
fucked up. Like, we can't let this slide again. Like, if people start making that type of music again or talking about drugs and like literally, Juice WRLD has a song where he says "help me" like 40 times in a row, and it's like, I understand why people are like, let the artist be the artist, but also like,
Mac Miller did too.
yeah.
But
And look at him, bro.
yeah,
Like, it's just so interesting.
yeah, that's always a tough thing because you never know if like
It's them just releasing or if it's them literally having a cry for help.
and but you know what's sort of interesting? Grunge was like a response to 80s hair metal, like the complete opposite, you know. And Juice WRLD and them were sort of a response to that drill wave of like hard gangsters, and then
it's like, holy shit, they're talking about their feelings.
yeah, and then it's like, you know what? Time for these rappers to start talking.
I
about
think it
their
was
feelings and
also more of a response, kind of different than the drill, because to me the drill is more like Metallica and them getting like, let's be real, which is like popular right now, kind of like on the same timeline as the early 90s. That's like when like Metallica and Megadeth and them were their most famous. To me, what it relates to is like Lil Pump and all them, like where it's all about the image. That's what like the 80s hair band is like, where it's like Lil Pump, Smoke Perp, like all the guys that were talking about nonsense.
They were sort of influenced by drill. I feel like Lil Pump and them.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying though.
But I just feel like that was more of the course, where it was like we had all these rappers that were just talking about bullshit, and then they were like, hey, like we can make it sound good and also talk about like serious like thoughts and like, you know, not be stupid about it.
Health and stuff.
Yeah.
Even if it's like not like.
But the reason I bring it up too is just like, do you think that type of music is gonna resurface? Do you think there's someone new? Like, you think that is still gonna be something, or do you think that people are like realizing like maybe we shouldn't be like supporting that type of talk?
No, I think that'll always happen. Because I mean, bro, you even in like in the 80s, you have people like that, or like, I mean, I know he didn't like talk about it a bunch, but like Jimi Hendrix or that guy from The Doors, I think, or like, I mean, that's just music and drug.
But not
habits.
even music and drugs. I
But
mean,
then
just like
talking
like,
about it'll always be there. I think them rapping about their.
But I
problems.
mean, like literally that specific vibe, like Lil Peep, X.
Oh,
Juice
that's probably
WRLD.
gone forever.
You think that vibe is kind of past, that like people
there will
making the kind of like that type of music?
I mean, it's just like any other music. It'll come back in a different form.
Yeah, true. Yep. It's just I just thought that was such an interesting thing that Trippie Redd said, because I was like, damn, like that's
That
facts.
is fucked up.
Like,
yeah, and it's
literally
fucked up.
all of his. I mean, other than Ski Mask, and he's different than them.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't talk about how he has drug issues. All those other guys did. Yeah, so music's just amazing. And we could talk about it for literally hours. So make sure to comment your thoughts, your takes, your...
Oh, wait. The Dark and the Wicked.
I know, we're going to talk about it.
Oh, we are?
I was just music first.
okay.
Then. So comment whatever you think, you know, we should look into. Metal, rap. You heard our loves today, like random, and there's going to be other episodes where we talk about even more stuff that you guys are like, wait, what? They listen to that dumbass shit? So... literally say anything. We'll react. We'll say whether we like it or not. I'm thinking of starting a new segment called like Dope or Dumb. You know,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We'll start doing that and see where that takes. But yeah, literally just feel free to give us what you think we should dive into. We on this podcast we'll be talking about scary movies, good movies, stuff that we review. We recently watched a movie called The Dark and the Wicked, right?
Yep.
And it was a really good scary movie. I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one.
Yeah. Scariest movie I've seen in a long time. It was just a really good scary movie. Like, there wasn't much to it. It wasn't trying to make some commentary on society.
Yeah,
It was just
Babadook or whatever.
and the Barbarian.
Yeah, true.
Barbarian was good though. It was just like, hey, we're gonna scare this fucking shit out of you. And that's all it did, and I loved it. And it was a pretty decent story that just like, you know, ended. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I wasn't, you know, you were a little or unsatisfied with the ending, but
it's not that I was unsatisfied. I just was like, oh, okay. So they just there's many routes you can take as a scary movie with the ending, and their route, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it was just kind of like
that to me made me realize like, oh, they really just were making this movie to scare the shit out of us.
Scare the fuck out of you. Yep.
And
the
I loved it.
the only other thing that I would say to critique, because I also liked it a lot. Like I was scared shitless from the very beginning. We were having some drinks though, so I was also like not knowing what was going on, and then all of a sudden I was like, holy shit, wait, this is scary. But the spiders I did not like. Whenever they added the little spiders that crawled across people, it was just so CGI and stupid. I was just like, God, why did you even add? Like, if you just didn't have spiders go across them, that would have been so much better. Yeah, but that's a little nitpick.
That's a little nitpick.
That's a little.
And I didn't mind it because I feel like bugs are like the classic. Like it's like a classic scary movie.
And just kind of chills. Just try to give you like, ugh.
Good movie.
Out of 10,
dude. I'm gonna say 8.7.
8.7?
It went up, dude. I really liked that movie. Like, that's
wow. That is.
I can't name many movies better than it, other than The Exorcist, and I think I liked Midsommar better than it.
Yeah.
And The Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Sacred Deer is way better than it, in my opinion. But
I really like. I mean, I don't know what else would be better than it.
I didn't really like Smile better than it.
I thought it was way better than Smile.
I think Smile, bro. I am weird where like I don't really like it's a good ending and it makes the movie not get ruined, but the way the movie ended, I can't like go above like an 8.0. Like mine's 8.0. But like I don't know, just like
wow, another lame answer or lame number.
I'll do 8.1. Put it up, Sam. 8.1. Yeah, I don't know. It was really good. I was scared shitless. Acting was okay. Storyline was okay. It was scary though.
Dude, I mean, scary. That scene when the dad goes home, that was fucking crazy, bro.
No, that was crazy. Oh god,
don't spoil it though.
Fucked up though.
Watch The Dark and the Wicked.
It was good.
Tell us if you agree with me or him on the rating.
I mean, we're still in the 8. I mean, we're still
but
around each
mine's
other.
Almost
0.7.
Full, yeah.
I mean, that's literally saying like that's one of the best scary movies ever.
That's one of the best scary movies I've ever seen.
Wow. All right. Well, there you have it. Music update. I talked about it on the last podcast, but we'll be releasing kind of a throwback G Capo mixtape, just with all my old music. Also, we'll be making a little bit more metal, and we'll be releasing that soon. Probably be releasing that G Capo tape within the next, not this month, but the next month. And then probably I don't really have to do much work for that, so I'll probably release some metal during that time too. Have any updates for comedy or?
Nothing really new. You know, it's hard. So I'm like really just trying to like be able to keep in that like focused mindset of I don't care. I just need to keep going up and thinking of new material and actually writing it instead of just going up
like,
unprepared.
Oh, that was cool.
Like I said, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do all the time for music. So I feel you.
But yeah, just really just like get my mind right for it. Honestly, right now. Still hoping to go at Comedy on State. Yeah. Hopefully this week. I know.
Keep getting your foot in there.
Yep.
But that's what you got to do. But we'll update you guys more as it progresses. We're gonna be famous by next week or something.
And mention the.
Yep. And last thing I wanted to say before we end the podcast here is Regular Theo on Instagram. Regular Theo on Instagram. This is his hat. He is the one also editing these podcasts. Sam, feel free to put Regular Theo, whatever you want on any of this. Yeah, he's got a clothing line going on. He also is editing our podcast, so just thought I would give him a shout out. He's doing an amazing job.
Yep.
But yep, like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, whatever, go to YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. I think YouTube's the cooler place to be because it's just you see us. You know, I mean, I understand if you're like listening in the car or something, you want to just chill. But yeah, feel free to follow us on those platforms as well. And we're about to be on TikTok. We'll be up when this podcast comes out. We'll be on TikTok too. So all platforms, all social media outlets, hit us up. Adios.
Peace.